Welcome to the commission meeting of November 14th. If we could start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Manager McGill, if you call the roll, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Commissioner Flynn.
Present.
Commissioner Grella.
Here.
Commissioner Ranny.
Here.
Commissioner Swager Wilson
Here.
and Commissioner Silverman.
Here. You can proceed with the manager's announcements, please.
Thank you. Prior to tonight's meeting, Commission met in executive session to receive legal advice from the solicitor on a variety of topics. They also discussed the manager's review for 2023. The next regular meeting of the commission will be held on Tuesday, November 28th. That meeting will begin here at 8 p.m. We do have a number of budget workshops still remaining for the manager's recommended 2024 budget. Those will be as follows. We have one this coming Saturday, the 18th, between 9 and 12 p.m. These meetings are all here in room C. Also Thursday, 11:30, that's Thursday evening from 6 to 9 p.m. And then finally, if needed, a final budget workshop on Tuesday, December 5th from 6 to 9 p.m. For commission meetings, here are the ways the public can participate. In person, you don't need to pre-register, simply show up at the meeting at the appropriate time, or remotely via the Zoom webinar format. Again, you don't need to pre-register, simply click the link located on the meeting agenda on the municipal website. If you wish to speak during citizens' comments or during public hearings, simply use the raise hand feature on Zoom and you'll be notified when it is your turn to speak. In terms of the budget workshops, they are open to the public. However, public comment is not taken at those workshop meetings, but we do take public comment at all regular commission meetings. Immediately following the executive session, commission met in discussion session and received information on the following items. We received an update on the status of the ice rink. Good news there. We are anticipating opening for some of the leagues that have games that can't be rescheduled on Saturday, and then opening to the general public on Monday, the 20th. That's all contingent on everything continuing to progress as it is currently moving forward. We also received information on the Cochran Road Cedar Boulevard intersection from our traffic engineer and talked about some possible changes to the pedestrian lead interval at that intersection to try to improve safety for pedestrians that utilize that intersection. We also heard a presentation on the main park site plan project. We'll see additional information on that. This was simply a preliminary presentation by our consultants on that project. And immediately following the discussion session, we held our regular IDA meeting.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, community highlights. Commission Vice President Swager Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Mount Lebanon Historical Preservation Board is presenting Historic Preservation Bridging the Past, Present, and Future, featuring Teresa Duff, the Chief Conservator and Director at Lineage Historic Preservation Services. She will speak on the history and development of architectural conservation. The 1-hour workshop will be on Tuesday, December 7th at 7 p.m. at the Mount Lebanon Public Library. Make your reservation on the library website at www.mountlebanonlibrary.org. The draft of the 2023 Mount Lebanon Comprehensive Plan has been posted and is ready for your feedback at ascendlebo.com. This is your last chance to weigh in before the commission adopts the final plan next month. And please remember, this is our roadmap for the next 10 years. Well worth your time to tell us how you feel. Pittsburgh Regional Transit is reviewing all its bus routes, including the ones in Mount Lebanon. They are seeking public input, and it is important that your voice be heard as our routes could be affected. For details and ways to give your feedback, go to mountlebanon.org// public transit. Mount Lebanon is getting ready for the holidays, and we want you to be aware of 2 fun events. Beverly Bright Night will be at 7 p.m. on Thursday, December 7th. Hang out with Santa, see the tree lighting, shop, dine, and sing. On Saturday, December 9th, it's Washington Road's turn with the winter market and holiday celebration from noon to 5. Shop food and craft vendors, visit the Uptown shops, meet Santa, play games with the kids, hear music, and watch model train displays. Cap it off with the Clearview Common Tree lighting at 5. Spots are going fast at the Mount Lebanon Residence Academy, a free 9-week program sponsored by the Mount Lebanon Community Relations Board starting January 4th. Program information and applications are available on our website at mountlebanon.org/Residence Academy. Finally, as you're setting up your holiday decorations and you find that one infuriating strand of lights that decides to call it quits this year, know that you can recycle that strand for a good cause. Michael Brothers has a collection bin in the lobby of the municipal building at 710 Washington Road. They will collect the lights and donate the proceeds from the recycling to Project Bundle Up. The lobby is open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m.
All right, thank you for that report. Next on the agenda, introduction of Deputy Chief of Operations, Steve Ruby. Chief?
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Manager McGill, members of the commission. We appreciate the opportunity to not only congratulate, but introduce Deputy Chief Steve Ruby to our administrative team. Deputy Chief Ruby started his career about 16 years ago. He first started with the Broward County Sheriff's Office, where he spent some time down there as a deputy. From there, he moved on back to Pittsburgh, and he worked in the North Braddock and the Swissvale Police Department. So we really appreciate what Deputy Chief Ruby brings to the table in terms of his experience and his vast knowledge, having worked other places, and really gives him a good perspective and a unique opportunity to overlay that perspective here in Mount Lebanon. Since 2011, Deputy Chief Ruby was hired here at the Mount Lebanon Police Department, where he was promoted to corporal, where he worked as a field training officer, as well as absorbed a number of extra duties while there, and continued on and became a lieutenant with our department. While a lieutenant with our department, really Deputy Chief Ruby embraced a number of programs, and a couple of really important programs that he headed up was our wellness program and our recruitment and retention committee. And I can tell you, the manager speaks of really our intentional design of our positive people approach to our department and our community. And Deputy Chief Ruby was really instrumental in really starting that, really having a hand in that, really making sure that a lot of the steps that we're taking now, he's spearheaded there. And so we're really proud of that. We're proud of him. I know that Deputy Chief Ruby really embraces the opportunity to serve the men and women of this department so that we can in fact deliver the high level of service to the community. With that, Deputy Chief Ruby also is a graduate of Duquesne University, where he holds a degree in sociology. And I can tell you that we're real proud of him, and we're real proud to have him as a part of our team. So with that, I want to introduce Deputy Chief Ruby, and again, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Next on the agenda, Junior Commissioner Sarah Hudak. I saw Sarah.
All right, so I'll share some things going on at high school. Today we had our club picture day and that went pretty well. Next, we have our food drive, which is sponsored by our junior class, and that'll extend from October 30th to November 18th, where students are able to bring in food in for donation to their homerooms. And then also tomorrow we have our social studies blue book exams, or if students are not currently in a history class, they have a 9:30 a.m. start. Yeah, lucky.
Yeah.
Another exciting upcoming date is November 17th, which is the beginning of our winter sports season. And then we also have a link crew visit during homeroom on November 17th as well.
Thanks.
Thank you for that report. All right, next, citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any resident to express an opinion on any topic pertaining to local government. The commission enjoys hearing from the public on various issues and learning about items to address in the future. If you have any questions, we will try and answer them at the end of your comments. If we can't, we commit to getting you the answers as soon as possible. When I call your name, please come to the podium to address commission. Please state your name and address for the record. In fairness, we ask each speaker to share their thoughts for 5 minutes. The community is as good as each person in this room and online. We work together to make this a community that we can all be proud of, and we hope the dialogue remains respectful. We also appreciate the audience's efforts to refrain from any behavior that is disruptive or might intimidate free speech. First on the list, Colonel Hoon.
Bill Hoon, 456 Coolidge Avenue. On the last Friday in October, my wife and I went to a wine tasting at Duquesne University. And then we returned home on the T. That's the way we usually travel into and out of town. And we were sitting in the last car. There was nobody else in the car, both reading our books. T gets to Dormont Junction. And all at once I hear, F you, F that, F something else. Pretty loud, coming from the first car. So I closed my book, looked at Con, and then I got up. The reason I got up was I heard footsteps coming pretty fast back toward us. And I wanted to make sure somebody didn't come up behind me with a weapon. Well, I saw a guy stopped right behind our seats and looked at me. Well, I checked his hands, no knife, no gun. So that's the good news. What I did see was this. A guy with a lacrosse stick with the butt end up like he was going to use it for a weapon to smack somebody. And he stopped right in front of me because I was blocking his way. Well, I kept a good look on his eyes because that'll tell you what he's going to do, if he's going to make a move all of a sudden. And he was looking at me. I wasn't paying any attention to anybody else in the front car, about 20 people, 25 people, or to my wife. She was in a good position. So I'm just sizing him up, looking at that or the lacrosse stick, thinking, okay, first thing I'm gonna have to do is grab the stick, and then I'm gonna break this guy's nose. If he made a move. Because he's not gonna get to my wife, and I'm not gonna give him the chance to hit me with that stick. Well, he's still looking. And finally he says, are you worth $2.5 million? Now that's the first time anybody has ever been trying to pick a fight with me and question my net worth. So I was, what's this all about? But you don't want to talk to one of these eight balls. Never conversation, just let him vent, do what he wants to do. So I didn't let him know that surprised me at all. I just stood there and finally he came out with another F you, turns around and runs up to the front of the car. I didn't have to touch him. Well, he gets up there and then the driver says, get off of my train. And he opens the door. We're right at the end of the dock there at the Dormont Junction. Then he says 2 more times, get out, get out. Guy finally he turns around and he looks at me. I'm coming up behind him. And then he gets off the train. Conductor closes the doors immediately, reaches for the phone, and he says to me, "Did he hit you?" I said, "No." Then another woman said, the woman in the front seat leaned over and said, "I'm awfully glad you were on this train." My wife told me as we walked up from our stop, the very next stop, every eye on that train was on me. My wife said, "I really thought there was gonna be a fight because he looked like it." Okay, so why am I telling you this? Because you folks don't think this kind of thing can happen in Mount Lebanon. That 8-ball could be walking down Washington Road and confront your wife or your kids and don't say it can't happen because somebody tried to grab the toll taker out of her booth last year.
Thank you for your thoughts, Colonel, and I appreciate, thank you for, you're being careful with the language. We have a young person in the room, so thank you for that editing. Next on the list, Rob Mackey.
Good evening, Rob Mackey, Royce Avenue, on behalf of your Parks Advisory Board. I laid out some photos for you to look at. A picture's worth 1,000 words. And what we're showing are damaged trees at Williamsburg Park. Parks Advisory and Public Works put a great deal of effort into planting these trees. And as you can see, even with moderate deer protection, they're not doing so well. So your $5,000 roughly to get the trees on the ground there, plus the labor to install them. And you can see that the deer are mangling the guards and rubbing the trees through the guards, as well as breaking their branches. It's unclear what the damage ultimately will be with these trees in terms of whether they'll survive or not. But I was taken by the amount of damage on guarded trees because I thought trunk protection on trees of this size was the answer. I thought that would be enough. The fourth page of pictures are 2 trees, one from Bird Park, one from Twin Hills, that had been in the ground for years that recently got broken, not just rubbed, but cracked off at the base. The tree on the right was probably 14 feet tall. So that deer really went at this tree. And that tree, I would have, last year, before this happened, I would have considered that tree no longer vulnerable because it was so big. But that's not the case. So I offer the pictures to highlight the challenge and give you some sense of what's I think is necessary in terms of protecting every tree, using heavier protection than you would think would be necessary. We talked with Public Works about making sure these damaged trees get enough water next summer because they would be more susceptible to a drought for lack of a substantial portion of their bark. And my message is you can't be complacent because it's just a matter of time for these trees. Like they are getting lucky surviving each fall for years, for 10 years, let's say, from the point we put them in the ground until they are no longer vulnerable. They're just getting lucky for not having been killed. Last page, just real quick on different types of protection. You see a trunk only guard on the left and then 2 fully caged trees on the right. And you get a sense of what the costs are. It's unsightly to have so much fencing around, but it's not feasible to plant some of these trees without full protection. They're just going to get destroyed. So that's my message on behalf of the board. But in my minute 25 left, I just want to share 2 anecdotes. school day morning, everyone's in the kitchen. Oh, there's a deer nibbling at the apple tree. Okay, well, natural tendency of me anyway, I love the look of wildlife. Open the door to take a picture. Our dog bolts from the kitchen to chase the deer, and rather than just being able to call it back, it's acting on its dog behavior, chases the deer down Royce, down Cochrane, through the Beverly Cochrane intersection. Granted, it's 7:15 in the morning, across 4 lanes of traffic between the 3 on Cochrane and then the 1 or 2 on Beverly. School kids everywhere. Luckily, it was gridlocked. But the point I want to make is, even though a deer, a dog, and a man, me, ran through the intersection, there were still people laying on the horns to get people to make the right turn on the green arrow. So these animals are problematic, as you know, from a traffic safety standpoint. Pictures are for the trees, but there's more at stake.
Thanks for the work on this.
Thank you. Got a couple of quick questions, if I may. One of which is the guards that were on the trees, that obviously the guards didn't work. How much were they a piece? Do you recall?
How much were
These-
they a
These
piece?
guards, yeah,
Yes.
they're here.
If $4-ish, $5 range.
Okay, all right,
I don't know the exact number. We probably buy them in a significant quantity.
all right. Just kind of a ballpark, thank you.
Yeah.
The other is, what is a watering bag?
Watering bag is basically a canvas plastic waterproof bag. You tend to see it's like a slumped triangle. They can fill it up and it slowly lets water out,
Or seeps out? slowly?
seeps
Okay, all
out.
right.
So it's the ideal way to water a tree, especially in a distant location, because you don't have to stand there with a hose. You can fill the bag and leave.
Okay, cool, great.
And Public Works is using those. So
White tubes, are those not good against deer?
the white plastic
Yeah.
tube is typically what we use on saplings, and I should point this out.
Right.
Volunteers have guarded over 400 trees in Bird Park. Those white tubes are problematic because of ventilation, insect and mildew buildup inside the tubes. But the thing is, the deer will thrash those if they're just, without staking them,
They're not strong enough.
they're
for
just
the
not
deer.
strong enough.
Yeah.
So
Huh.
we find these guards ripped off and thrown every which way. Because they'll get their antlers under them or into them.
Yeah.
And a shorter tree, just went at the high school recently, the guard was up here. The trunk of the tree is bare because it lifted the guard up the tree.
Hmm.
And then it got caught up in the limbs. So they have lots of time on their hands, I guess. So,
They're bored.
they are bored.
I have a question for
Please.
Rudy on this. Do we have what we need for the ones that Rob has shown us to kind of refit these with guards? Okay.
I was stunned at the violence
Yeah.
in these things, because again, these are guarded plants of substantial size. They're not typically what we see
Right.
getting
Yeah.
the damage. These are street tree caliper trees, which tend to be tall enough and strong enough to not be the targets, but
I hope you were able to get the dog back safe and sound.
safe and sound,
Okay,
yes,
good.
and everybody was happier that evening and a little wiser about going out to the yard.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Next on the list, Brian Windsor.
Let's go. I haven't done this before, so if I do anything wrong, please let me know.
Tell us where you live.
Brian Windsor, 921 Miami Avenue. So I'm just, I'm an engineer, so I'm gonna start with the math here in a second, but I want to talk about the what was released earlier today regarding the trash collection and the corresponding millage rate decrease that was announced today. And just some math on how this impacts people with homes valued in certain rates. So for someone who has a home that's assessed at $200,000, right? A decrease of a decrease from 4.91 mils to 4.5 mils saves them $82. But they're paying $290 more, so they have a net payment of $208, right, as a result of this. Compare that to someone whose home was assessed 5 times greater at $1 million. Their decrease in tax would be $410. So what we're doing by doing this is saying we're going to charge someone whose home is assessed at $200,000, $208, and we're going to give someone whose home is assessed at $1 million, $120. Now, compare this to, I got this number from the August 22nd community discussion. I went on YouTube and looked at it early today. And in the presentation there, they said that in order to pay for the entire tax increase or the trash collection increase, the millage rate would have to increase 0.28. So doing that math, someone whose home is assessed at $200,000 would still end up paying $56. And someone whose total increase, whose home assessed at $1 million would increase $280. So I'm confused as to why we are saying that someone whose home is worth 5 times as much, we have to give them $120, as opposed to making someone whose home is assessed for less pay $208, whereas we're against making the person whose home is worth more pay $208, not that much more than $208 for going there. Seems to me this is just basically essentially a regressive tax that we're inputting on people of Mount Lebanon, and we're basically benefiting those who already have more at the expense of those who don't. And it just seems like that's putting the money into the wrong spot, as we were. Any kind of flat tax, I think, is going to do that. So I just, I don't really have much more to say beyond that. I just wanted to kind of ponder why that's where we're putting the value judgment into where we're putting this money, as opposed to doing what, most tax systems are, right? And even if it's a flat fee, it is essentially a tax. To essentially give the people who already have the most, more money back, and take the people who don't have as much and charge them more money. That's really all I had, so.
Yeah, thank you for your thoughts. I wanted to ask our finance director, the numbers that Mr. Windsor threw out, are those the 0.8? So I just want to make sure that we're all working with the same number. Okay, all right, thank you.
Mr. Windsor, can I ask you a question? You have any issue if I move your comments from regular citizens' comments to the public hearing on the 2024 budget?
I don't. In fact, that's part of, I wasn't sure exactly where to put it, so I wasn't sure, so
I just want to make sure that they get entered as a matter of record related to the hearing on the budget. That's okay.
That's perfectly fine by me.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Next on the list, Dave Egler.
For 121 Pulpwood Drive. That was a perfect lead into what I have to say. And you're gonna put my comments in the budget, but I signed up for both, so.
Well, okay, good, because I want to make sure you had your chance
Do
for
you have
that hearing.
different comments for each one, Mr.
I'll add to it. How's that? But anyway, that very good.
He's one of our
comments today.
regulars, in case anybody doesn't know.
Well, unfortunately, I am behind the times. I've been away for a while and I need to get caught up. So the only topic I really have out there right now is the refuse collection. I will get caught up, I'm sure, and be here more often in the future. Back to the, I guess the garbage collection. Yeah, I've kind of done the study myself and kind of, it's like, I did show up at a meeting a couple months ago when this was discussed about the collection, and I spoke at that time and said, I think you're headed in the right direction with staying where you are, except do not make it a fee. And I stressed that at the time, do not make it a fee, because it hurts the people on the lower end of the economic scale and helps the people on the higher end. I mean, we're getting to the point in this country, I mean, I'm looking at what I'm gonna be paying in fees. That's gonna be higher than the taxes pretty soon. Sanitary sewer fees, storm fee, garbage fee, everything's gonna be a fee, and everybody in town's gonna pay the same thing. Are we gonna have a per capita tax on a wage tax so that we get hit? Hey, let's make it easy. Let's charge everybody the same thing. You're hurting the people that need the help the most. Why? The tax structure worked for us over a century in this town. And we are progressively getting away from it and making it more difficult on the people who need the help. I don't know why we're doing it with a fee. To me, it's almost like you're disguising, oh, we're lowering the millage rate. That's small potatoes. How much are we bringing in on this fee? And by the way, the budget message and the latest, I don't know if it's 360, 290. What do we expect to charge?
290.
290.
To 290.
First year.
And how many quote households are we charging? 12,000? 11,071. So due to simple math, what is it, over 3 million? And we're lowering the taxes, how much in dollars? Which is in dollars?
0.5, it was 1.3 million, Dave. I don't know what it is.
What I'm getting at is, take the net of the two, there's a pretty substantial increase out there. Kind of wondering where it's going. I don't have a problem with the refuse collection going up and paying the percentages going up. I don't have a problem with that at all. I understand it. That makes sense, but to me, it's like, hey, we're giving you a tax break here, but we're taking it from your other pocket and from the people who most can't afford it. I mean, I'm looking at it, what I paid last year, I guess on this lower end dollars, that's a 40% of my tax bill from last year. 40%. That's huge. I mean, I get it. Refuse collection is typically the highest operating cost in any municipality. I get that. You know, it's about 10%, but now you're saying 40%. That's a killer. So I'm going to just state again, once again, do not make it a fee. Let's get away from the fees, make it taxes, make it fair to everybody. I know you could say, well, you go out there and you buy gas, you all pay the same. I realize that, but that's why the tax structure is out there the way it is, to make it easier for those who can't afford it. So I'll maybe add a little bit when we get to budget comments. Besides, I don't want you to be able to say nobody got up to speak at budget comments.
Thank you, Dave. Next, Tyler Love.
Hi guys, sorry he wanted to tech, he missed all the other meetings. He's
Well, if you.
excited he wanted to come.
Come on down. Yeah, let him lead the pledge if you got it.
So again, I never wanted to see you all again personally. I like you all, but I didn't want to be here today. I noticed something driving by today, and can I come up and show you real quick? Our walking, so our path that I had told you guys about.
Yeah, yeah.
Circle that we walk
Yeah.
down the hill to go to Gilchrist, or to go to Cedar Boulevard, to walk to the school. That's in the middle of the path today, which is in preparation, I'm assuming, for the major sewer development that's gonna be created. So now we can no longer walk down the already kind of dangerous little hill. I was all excited because we saw a digger yesterday, we're like, all right, maybe they'll put a little staircase in, right? No, and that's just, can you throw us a bone somewhere? We now have no way to walk safely to his school unless we want to take a 50-minute route and cross, which is Markham's recommended route for him without the staircase, going up the hill to Inglewood. Without that, we were supposed to go down our street, cross over Gilkison Road, go all the way down to the the Galleria, cross again, go down through the gas station, up Washington Road and down to the school. It's a 50-minute walk. That's just not right. I mean, that could be cut in half if that staircase at Inglewood in the condos at the end of our street was completed. And I know you guys said that it was $140,000 bid that you got for that. I'll do it for 50. I mean, how many bids did you guys receive?
We haven't received bids. That's the engineer's estimate of cost.
Well, can we get some bids in there?
We typically don't solicit bids unless we actually are thinking
find
about
it.
awarding a project.
Okay.
Because there's a cost.
Oh,
putting
yeah,
together
for sure,
bid specs
for
and
sure.
Putting it out for bid.
I thought it was a bid situation. And that's fine. I just asked that it be considered in the future because,
Can you repeat that? So the Inglewood staircase would save how much time to
oh,
walk
probably
to
25
school?
minutes.
25 minutes
Yeah,
to
I
walk.
mean, it would cut it in half. Because I mean, again, we wouldn't have to, and cross Gilkison Road twice
twice.
to get there. And now with the development going in, I know they were talking about a sidewalk behind us, but we were kind of trying to avoid that coming down to our house because it brings unnecessary traffic to a dead end. And that was our kind of main issue. And I know we're kind of in talks with, yeah, and then they'll come through our yard and because they have nowhere to go on Gilkison Road. So I know we're hopefully, and talk with them to maybe cut that short a little bit. And I know that'll be eventual, but that's a long time from now. With the staircase, it could solve a lot of problems. And again, there are more children, and I know that this has not been brought up in years past because there weren't a lot of children on our street. Now there's probably 4 or 5 entering school within the next year. So it's something that
Do you know how many children you have in total? Just estimate.
2 across the streets, 2 down the streets. I think we're at like 4 or 5 total as of right now, but don't. Yeah, somebody on Gilkison, it's across the street there, because they have to walk either down and up or down in Cedar. If they come down to the bus stop, cross over, they can go right up the staircase to Inglewood. And honestly, it's a thing too. All of his friends live up there and stuff like that. And it's like, we can't get to it. We had to drive on Halloween because we can't get there any reasonable way. And it's only, and like I said, I drove by there today and there's a giant sewer pipe in the middle of where we used to walk down. So I just ask that you guys look into it if you wouldn't mind. We would really appreciate it. I know our street would appreciate it and, everybody that could utilize it. I know people in Inglewood that work in town that would like to utilize the bus system too. I mean, if they can come down that staircase and get on the bus right there, solves twofer. So it's bedtime.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Tyler.
Mrs. Pitcairn caught me on election day and she talked about how she has family on Old Gilkison and, to want to try and visit, they have to literally go around as opposed to just going down the staircase. So they put in another pitch for wanting to see that staircase get constructed or get funded at budget time. That's everybody I've got on the list here. However, to see if anybody is online. Do we have any commenters online?
I don't have anybody online.
All right, thank you, Nick. Next on the agenda, item 5, Commissioner Grella, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of the minutes from the adjourned meeting held October 24, 2023. I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all is in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 6. Mr. Randy, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public hearing on the 2024 manager's recommended budget and proposed tax rate for the year 2024. The manager's 2024 recommended budget prepared pursuant to the Home Rule Charter was submitted to the Commission November 1st, 2023. Residents may inspect the budget during normal business hours at 710 Washington Road, the municipal building, and the library. And the recommended budget is also available on Mount Lebanon's website. Tonight, citizens have the opportunity to provide written and oral comments and suggestions regarding the budget and tax rate for 2024. The tax rate is proposed at 4.5 mils. The public will also have an opportunity on December 12th, 2023 to comment on the commission's proposed adjustments to the manager's recommended budget.
Okay, we'll conduct a public hearing. It's now officially open. Perhaps, Mr. McCreary, did you want to give a little overview? Not real. How about 25 words or less?
He's persistent.
Budget is online at www.mountlebanon.org/2024 budget. All the information is there. You can feel free to reach out to the finance department at lebobudget@mountlebanon.org with any questions.
And as you mentioned, our budget sessions are online and on TV and.
They're all there and outlined on the website there. Yes.
Great. Thank you. All right, next on the list, Dave Egler.
Dave Egler, 121 Paulport Drive. Am I the only one on the list by chance?
Yes.
That's a shame for a community this
I know,
size,
it
that
is.
there's so few people interested in
Consistent.
speaking. And Andrew, welcome to the club. I had to do the same torturous thing for many years, so I feel the pain.
Well, at least there was another gentleman who would have been on the list. He commented earlier, so you're not by yourself.
The comments over, but like I said, it's a shame that people have more input, but I guess that's the way it is nowadays. The one thing I do want to comment on in the capital side of the budget, something that's not there. Maybe I should save this comment for when we talk about the 5-year capital improvement program, but there's been a program that, or a little project out there that's I've been asking about for like 25 years, or when I say a quarter century, sounds longer. The Pennsylvania Boulevard Walking Trail. It just keeps getting pushed back in the capital improvement 5 years back, 5 years back. It's not even, doesn't even make the current year anymore. Okay, I've been trying to get this in there for how long? I keep hearing different numbers being thrown around. Back in the day, I was told that somewhere maybe around 15,000, they could acquire all those tax delinquent properties. There's 17 properties, I'm sure still there, that are delinquent. Ownership for almost all of them is anywhere from 50 to 100+ years. A few years back, we were told that we will negotiate when they come up for sale. And my comment was, unless you're willing to hold a seance, you're not gonna be dealing with any of the owners, okay? Most of the properties do not even list an owner, and the ones that are listed, they're not the owners. They don't live there. I've done the research, I've checked it. There's well in excess of $100,000 in liens out there. The liens are outrageous between the school, the county, and the municipality. I've asked years upon years, have you had a discussion with the school district about it? Have you talked to the county? Are they willing to forgive the liens to maybe acquire these properties in some manner, whether it be through sheriff's sale? I mean, there's gotta be some reason. I know that past solicitors have looked into it, and more currently, they've looked into it. I just don't see why we don't go ahead and do it. I've asked the question, you know, nothing has been done with these properties for, like I said, 50 years more, forever. Can I get that same break if I don't pay my taxes? Will I be not touched at all? I mean, they're not paying their taxes at all, and nobody's coming after them to threaten them to say, hey, sheriff's or anything else. Will I be afforded that same luxury? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. So why are they giving a break? Why don't we go after these properties? Commissioner Villa, that's your reward, and we've talked about it. What's the holdup? Why don't we acquire it? As far as any work going on, I'm sure the residents in the area will help out. All we're looking for maybe is some wood chips or something for the trail. The main thing is acquire the property, get it in the municipality's hands, and how long it takes to develop it after that, so be it. But we've been waiting here forever. I know we acquired a few pieces back around 2000, purchased it, and then dropped it like that. Nothing's being done. I'd like to know why not. Why can't we have something in our ward that's 3/10 of a mile in distance? That's a heck of a long linear park. That goes from Poplar all the way down to the bank, down on Mount Lebanon Boulevard. That's where it ends down there. It's the properties we're talking about. So once again, I'm hoping that you may reconsider, check the values, maybe check with the school district and the county and see if they're willing to work with you, get those answers and see if we can get this in a budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. Anybody else wish to make a comment? All right, online, do we have anybody online who wishes to speak at the public hearing?
We have no one who wants to speak.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll consider this public hearing closed. All right, item 7, Commissioner Spargo Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the introduction of ordinance bill number 5-23, amending the 2023 budget for revenue and expenditures not anticipated in the 2023 budget. The following adjustments are proposed. If you look to the screen on your left and my right, you will see all of the things that are proposed. I recommend that we introduce ordinance bill number 5-23.
All right, we'll set the public hearing on this for the November 28th, 2023 meeting.
Oh, good.
Thank you. And that's on tape. Everybody got? All right, item 8, Commissioner Flynn, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introduction of ordinance bill number 6-23 concerning the municipality's 2024 budget. The commission held a scheduled budget work session to review the budget on Thursday, November 9th. Additional budget work sessions will be held on Saturday, November 18th, Thursday, November 30th, and if needed on Tuesday, December 5th. A public hearing was just held to comment on the manager's 2024 recommended budget. A second public hearing is scheduled on December 12th regarding any commission revisions to the manager's recommended budget. The 2024 budget ordinance is scheduled for consideration at the December 12th, 2023 meeting. Mr. President, I introduce ordinance bill number 6-23.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, Commissioner Grello, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introduction of ordinance bill number 7-23, fixing the tax rate for the year 2024. The municipality will be fixing its tax rate in accordance with the adopted budget. The tax rate for general purposes is currently 4.91 mils. The tax shall be fixed at the rate of 4.5 mils for the year of 2024 and continue in force for each successive calendar year without annual reenactment unless the tax is subsequently changed. The municipality just conducted a public hearing on the tax rate, and the rate will be further considered as part of the public hearing on the fee for collection of garbage.
Second.
Oh, actually, it's just an
Just
introduction.
straight introduction. I think you, so you've officially introduced the bill.
Fabulous.
Terrific. Item 10, Commissioner Rainey, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introduction of ordinance bill number 8-23, establishing a fee for the collection of garbage. Mount Lebanon currently contracts for garbage collection. As a result of higher costs in the recently approved 5-year contract, the commission has decided to assess an annual fee for the collection of garbage beginning January 1st, 2024. The proposed ordinance established the fee at $290 a year for the first year, gradually increasing to $410 in the final year. There is a 2% discount for payment prior to April 30th. The proposed ordinance also contains an exoneration provision and standard billing and collection provisions. I introduced ordinance bill number 8-23.
Thank you, and we'll set the public hearing on this ordinance for November 28th, 2023. Item 11, Commissioner Spargo Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to the introduction of an ordinance bill number 9-23, amending the stormwater fee billing and collection procedures. Mount Lebanon currently assesses a storm sewer fee, which is billed and collected annually with an option for large properties to pay every 4 months. The ordinance changes the billing method to just an annual billing. The ordinance also established February 1 as the billing date, April 30th as the end of the discount period, and August 31st as the due date at face. The ordinance changes will align the billing and collection with that of the garbage fee. I introduced the ordinance bill number 9-23.
Thank you. This public hearing will occur on November 28th, 2023. Item 12, Commissioner Grella, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the award of the tennis center
Excuse me.
court renovation and project phase 2 court contract. A proposal was received from Keystone Sports Construction for the tennis center court renovation project phase 2 on August 17, 2023. Keystone holds the CoStars contract bid through the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania contract CoStars 14E 23312. The project consists of rehabilitation work at Mount Lebanon Tennis Center, courts 5 and 6, including removal and installation of 2 new hard-true clay court playing surfaces with HydroCourt irrigation technology, new tennis posts and nets, as well as necessary site preparation, protection, and restoration. The contractor has provided references from similar types of projects. The references have been contacted and they have verified the contractor is capable of completing the project. The municipal engineer has reviewed the proposal in conjunction with the municipal solicitor and determined it to be acceptable and recommend the project be awarded to Keystone Sports Construction. The proposal totals $331,253.19. The indoor tennis for Mount Lebanon will be contributing 45% or $149,063.94 to the project. And the remaining $182,189.25 will be from Capital Improvements Fund. The total project cost is estimated at $410,053 and includes this proposal along with site work to be bid and electrical work which has already been completed. I move to award the tennis center court renovation project phase 2 court proposal to Keystone Sports Construction in the amount of $331,253.19, subject to execution of a contract approved by the municipal solicitor and municipal manager.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 13, Commissioner Flynn, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration to ratify approval of the rebuild of compressors 2 and 3 on the ice rink. The Mount Lebanon Ice Rink and recreation staff became aware of a problem with the ice plant when the system was not cold enough to support ice. The rink was closed on Sunday, October 22nd. Our service provider was contacted and determined that extensive repairs are necessary and parts will not be available for about 3 weeks.
to minimize the amount of downtime for the rink and impact to the users and the municipality, and pursuant to Administrative Code Section 1-155 and a declaration from the municipal engineer, the municipal manager authorized ABM Building Solutions LLC to furnish the materials and perform the required repair work at a cost of $55,185. Mr. President, I move to approve the rebuild of compressors 2 and 3 for $55,185 as authorized by the municipal manager.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 14, Commissioner Rainey, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration to ratify approval of temporary measures to restore an ice surface at the ice rink. The Mount Lebanon Ice Rink and Recreation staff became aware of a problem with the ice plant when our system was not cold enough to support ice. The rink was closed on Sunday, October 22nd. Our service provider was contacted and determined that extensive repairs are necessary. The previous agenda item ratified repairs to the system. To minimize the amount of downtime for the rink and impact to the users in the municipality, and pursuant to Administrative Code Section 1-155 and a declaration from the municipal engineer, the municipal manager has authorized Perk Rentals to rent and install a chiller at a cost of $44,089.16. Additionally, ABM Building Solutions LLC was authorized to install the taps and provide glycol at a cost of $21,975 for a total of $66,064.16. I move to approve the measures to restore the ice surface at the ice rink as authorized by the municipal manager.
Second.
Motion moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously and we are adjourned. Here or. This is just- Start with the final version of the-